She was only 16 years old when a photograph of her appeared on the front page of a British newspaper, and by the next morning, almost everyone in the country knew her face. She had not planned for any of it. She was just a teenager from London, helping out at her family's small business, with no real idea that her whole life was about to change. Within a few short years, she would become one of the most talked about young women in Britain, appear on countless magazine covers, and even top the music charts around the world. But fame came with a price most people never saw, and the years that followed were not always kind to her. So, what does life really look like for someone who became famous before she even finished school? Let us find out. Samantha Fox was born in London in 1966 into a working-class family. Her father ran a small photography business, and money was often tight at home. She grew up as a fairly ordinary kid, going to a local school, with no special connections to fame or the entertainment world. When she was still a young teenager, her father encouraged her to try modeling, mostly as a way to earn some extra money for the family. Nobody expected it to lead anywhere big. She took a few photographs here and there, simply trying to help out at home. Then, at 16 years old, one of those photographs ended up printed in a major British newspaper. Almost overnight, her face became recognized across the entire country. She had not auditioned for stardom. She had not even finished school yet. But suddenly, offers started pouring in from every direction, and her quiet teenage life was gone for good. Over the next few years, Samantha Fox became one of the most photographed young women in Britain. Her image appeared everywhere in newspapers, magazines, and advertisements across the country. She was still a teenager, yet millions of people already knew exactly who she was. But she did not stop at modeling. In the middle of the 1980s, she decided to try something completely different. She released her first song, and to everyone's surprise, it became a massive hit, not just in Britain, but in several other countries as well. She followed it with more songs, several of which climbed high on music charts around the world. For a while, it felt like she could do no wrong. She toured different countries, appeared on major television shows, and became one of the most recognized entertainers of her generation. Her face was on posters in bedrooms across the world, and her name was known even by people who had never bought one of her records. Yet behind all of that recognition, she has said in later years that it was overwhelming for someone so young. She was still a teenager when all of this began, thrown into a level of fame that most adults would struggle to handle, let alone a girl barely out of school. As the years went on, Samantha Fox's career slowed down in ways that surprised many of her fans. The music industry moved on to new trends, and the intense media attention that once made her famous eventually started fading away. She has spoken honestly about how difficult that transition felt. Going from being constantly in demand to watching opportunities slowly disappear was not easy for her, and she has admitted that those years brought real struggles, both personally and financially. She also faced serious challenges in her personal life, including health issues within her family and difficult relationships that played out publicly. Unlike some celebrities who managed to keep everything hidden, much of what Samantha Fox went through happened while the public was still watching, which made those hard times even more painful for her. But instead of disappearing completely, she found ways to keep working. She continued performing music, took part in various television projects, and slowly built a smaller, steadier career instead of chasing the massive fame she once had. In recent years, Samantha Fox has settled into a quieter, more private version of her life. She has spoken openly about her long-term relationship with her partner, choosing honesty over the secrecy that once surrounded much of her personal story. She still performs occasionally and remains involved in the entertainment world, but on a much smaller scale than during her teenage years of fame. Rather than chasing headlines, she is focused on staying true to herself, something she has said took her many years to fully learn how to do. Looking back at everything, her story is not simply about a teenage sensation who rose and faded away. It is about a woman who experienced overwhelming fame before she was even old enough to fully understand it, faced real struggles most people never saw, and still found a way to keep living her life on her own terms. So, what is Samantha Fox's life really like? It is a story of extremes: sudden fame as a teenager, real hardship in the years that followed, and eventually, a quieter peace she built for herself over time. She did not choose that first photograph in the newspaper, but everything she did after it, surviving the pressure, rebuilding her life, and finally living honestly, that part belongs entirely to her. That is the real story behind Samantha Fox's lifestyle, a woman who became famous before she was ready, but slowly learned how to live life on her own terms. If you enjoyed this story, let me know in the comments who you would like me to cover next. Thank you for watching.